Hello. Like, everything's actually working today, including my microphone. Starting soon. Right, there we go. Welcome, viewers. Cable's a little higher than normal. Alright, there we go. Alright, think it's all good now. Switch to face cam for a second. Because a rarity. A Misu. He is an angry cat. Not petting her the way she picked her up. Little girl. Standing at my feet isn't the best spot for you. I think she doesn't quite understand the concept of things falling on her head uh, from you know painting. Which I guess is a good sign because it means I've been able to prevent it from happening. Doesn't know to be afraid of it. Got a little extra bit of my palette back. I moved. I try not to mix in the area that can't see, that the viewer can't see. So I I try to reuse my gloves a little bit, not for forever because they do get worn out, but I mark them so which is the inside and which is the outside, and what hand they go on. So just to catch up anyone who missed the stream, I laid in my um, I sketched out my painting, um, blocked in the basic colors and everything, and then I um, took a sprayer and went over everything with it. There we go. Yeah, took a brayer over it. And then I went through and with a wiper tool, um, corrected where everything was, the placement of everything. And now what I'm going to do is uh, go back in and start modeling, shaping out everything, change any colors that need to be changed. You know, any adjustments going to be part of it, of course. Sorry for just a second. I want to check something. Just checking to see if the link I posted was actually working. You know. All right. All right. So one of the big changes is I think I'm going to change some of the background color. Right now it's kind of a cool color. I think I'm going to try and keep it in the cool, but more towards the yellow. So that'll be like it like this. It pop figures pop a little. Yeah, maybe I was wrong. I do. So this is from a black and white image, and I did colorize it software, but it's making up the color. So a lot of this is just making up the color. Normally, I don't make up colors that much. Don't usually work from black and white photos in this manner. Giving it a try. I didn't pick that up. Actually, which this is kind of yellow and this is kind of blue. Which them? My paints are dry. To find, I have a bottle of clove oil, but I can't find it. I use my clove oil to help keep my paints fresh. I think it's I think I need to refresh my clove oil. Find the bottle. the reason I am switching this up because this is the same surface as this. Of course, in any depending on what light is hitting it, surfaces, especially white surfaces like this is, you know, it can vary quite a bit. But I want to make, and I think better yellow is some um curtains, and so I think it will that like dingy curtain look that I'm getting from the photo. Aaron, I mean, honestly, yeah, it's also with oh nice shit. So painting from 2 days ago is still kind of wet, but it's not the good kind of wet. It's the not fully tacky yet. It's still a little better than that, but it's still a little too, a little tackier than I want it to be. But one of the problems working from a photo like this, the tendency is to make all the shadows, especially on the people, warm, dark, warm colors. What the software did too, and it doesn't have the variety that you get when you aren't working from a photo or have a really good. We have all kinds of shades of color in our skin tones and in shadows, especially where, well, not especially, but it's more than just like a darker color. Actually, just watched a video from James Gurney today about the difference between photography and what our eye sees in real life and how that can affect your painting and so on. Anyone who's not familiar with James Gurney, I highly recommend it. Recommend him. Great artist. Good books, good videos, very informative. Just very knowledgeable in general. Um, he's so good at he makes everything look easy. Also, this is a relatively canvas. I wasn't sure about painting black and white. Um, that even on photography, that can affect all the variety of colors the in shadow. With less space, harder to make variety. It just ends up all kind of squashing together on film. So that is also something to keep in mind. Or something I need to keep in mind rather while I'm painting it. So now what I'm trying to do, the reason I'm grabbing blue and white to add to this shadow mix, the reason I keep lightening it up is because I'm actually intending to light up the uh, the darkest darks here. And so this will kind of be a guiding area. Not to say that I can't go darker again later, I might. Um, but in working towards compressing everything, this will help more mentally than anything, really. It'll be kind of a reminder of like, this is the darkest I should go for practically everything. Because this is the area, this and this is probably the two areas of interest. So these areas are, so they should be the most sharp, contrasty, all that. They're not. It helps balance as I'm painting it. And it's like, okay, then make sure to adjust everything as I go. other aspect of that too, worth mentioning, is because this is from a photo and even an old photo, um, all the blacks, all the dynamic range of the camera was not very good, so it squashes a ton of information in the darks and the lights. However, more in the darks than the light because they were probably exposing for the light. So very very washed. Kind of it's a synthetic opening because obviously I can't restore any of the information that got lost, but I can lighten it up and apply detail that I don't know was there that can give the feeling of more information being there than there actually. I already see I'm already messing up a little in the sense that this is way darker. Is darker than the like darks that I put down. So already the biggest deal got in mind, and I want to have room for highlights in the hair. But yeah, tough to condense all the values like this. gonna have to all. The reason I'm grabbing other colors, even though I want it to be bluer side, I want it to be a little more neutral. And the reason I'm specifically trying not to paint side to side is the ridges catching the highlights like they were. Not entirely. Mm, just me. All right. Pretty sure. One thing worth mentioning is, I'm doing a lot of color compression, or no, sorry, value compression. Also color, but value compression. Um, it's worth mentioning that there's more to it than just adding white. A lot of times that's all I'm doing, but I try to be aware of that. One of the reasons I often don't mind doing that, my particular palette is uh, very vibrant, so reducing that with some white is fine. However, not the only way to compress values. And keep saturation values to a degree, depending. obviously I have no way of knowing the color of this dress. The dress does have checkered pattern on it, very tight checkered pattern on it, and there is no way to make that, especially not on something light blue. Trying to think, can't imagine it being any other color than like blue or purple because the rim is a dark color. Can't imagine it being like red or anything. But I kind of think yellow because like I've seen dresses yellow and stuff, but the dark part might be theoretically. I don't know. Doesn't seem likely. Having said that, I'm exactly the fashionable person in the world, so could be wrong. Maybe there's a famous style from when this photo was taken that greetings from Chicago. Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining in on my stream. I appreciate it. In case you haven't been here before, I don't recognize the name, but I'm horrible with names. I'm dyslexic, so I apologize. But for anyone who's new here, questions are welcome. No, no, don't mind repeating myself if you have a question that you think have been asked. So on. If we know each other from online somewhere else, feel free to find me. Like I said, I'm bad with names. Some of the other stream just haven't commented. Oh, awesome. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. And I appreciate you saying hi. No one should feel forced to comment either, by the way, but I do appreciate it because, well, that's part of the reason I'm doing this streams. OPL is the other stream. Got it. We know each other from there. For anyone who isn't familiar with OPL, OPL is short for Our Painted Lives. It is the YouTube channel of Nicholas Uribe and Danny. I always forget her last name, which I feel bad about. And it's a great painting channel. I highly recommend. Nicholas is a fantastic oil painter. And they have a book out right now that you can get as a PDF, which is super cool. So, just a little PSA for anyone who's unfamiliar with them. He submitted a self-portrait to Cherry's art contest, and had seen my art when you did uh, the portrait behind you. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that was a fun contest. I hope you got a gift card of some sort out of it. Although that's obviously not the only reason to enter, but yeah, hopefully you got something out of it. I know they gave a lot of the like a lot of people got something out of it. Like I'm trying to remember how many, but first like top 10 or 25, I think, something like that. So yeah, that's awesome. But also don't feel bad if you didn't. To anyone who's watching who didn't, there's a lot that goes into competitions like that and who wins them. You're not pro, but I've always had art in I'm assuming me, I can't see it because of the heart from the chat. Did not win, but is always fun to enter. Yes, absolutely. That is a great um, you know, that is a fantastic mentality to have for sure. And that's something I I try and promote, which is I feel like artists a lot of artists feel like if they're not pro, um, then there's no point. And that in general just makes me sad. Um, yeah. And I'm not going to get into AI art much here, but I'll bring it up briefly because a lot of people um, have had that kind of mentality with the AI art where it's like, well, if you can't, draw better or paint better than the machine can, then why even bother? And it's like, okay, first of all, the machine can't do any of that. I'm not even going to get into that. Even if it could, even if you're never going to be, there's no such thing as the best artist. There is no the best artist. So you might as well make art and not worry about it. Also, it's very fun to make art. So I think people should not, even though you entered into a competition, I entered into a competition, but people make too much competition out of it. Make art because it's fun and rewarding. The doing is the rewarding part. Being pro has its rewards to it for sure. It also comes with a ton of negatives. Not everyone needs to be pro, does quote unquote pro. I say quote unquote because that's really all it is. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people who are like they're feeling like they can't be the best artist out there. Why even bother? You're never going to be the best, no matter who you. Even name the biggest names in art history aren't the best. Like they might be the best at what they did, they're not the best. Agree, the unique aspect of a personal style will always supersede anything a machine can do or a pro title. Yeah, and like I said, it's really, I think it's, people need to do it for the fun. Because even if machines weren't a part of it, like, there's always going to be someone better. So if you're not going to do it because you can't be the best at it, then you're never going to do it. What's the point? You know? Okay, I'm putting down color, but it's not making a lick of difference. So okay, I need to put out more white. So yeah, like I said, but I'm not going to really get into the other stuff. I'm so tired of it. Um, support human artists, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah, the pro title thing is, you know, I think people get hung up on that sometimes. It's yeah, I think people on it. There's some there's some very famous artists from history that wouldn't even qualify today as pro, even though their paintings are in museums. So it's not really. It's a title. It's a title to be. Um, you know, I put it. And there's nothing wrong with being a pro, but it doesn't. It's not going to suit everybody, regardless. So yeah. But just so you know, the self-portrait thing is an annual thing, so you can enter again. By the way, in case you weren't aware of that. I'll be honest, I don't know if I can enter, but you can definitely enter. What brands of paint do I use? Any brands to stay away from? Any brands to stay away from? Good question. Okay. I use mostly three brands. Gamblin, Winsor Newton, and what's that other one? M Graham. Gamblin, Winsor Newton, and M Graham. The artist grade. Um, for my white, I couldn't help myself, so I bought this one. It's the Great White from Jerry's just to try it because it's cheap or economical. Maybe I should say. They claim it's artist grade, you know. Um, I don't know. I like M Graham because it's creamy. It's a little on the softer side. Um, I personally like that. Um, I wouldn't. I'd be careful of Winsor Newton, not Winsor Newton. Sorry. Actually, I'd be careful of any brands like student grade. I've used Gamblin 1980, which is their like you know student grade or whatever. It was okay. I've done paintings in it with it. It's you can you can do it. It's just I don't know. It's a lacking a little. Um, it's very stiff, which I didn't like. Yeah, very stiff. Other than that, I can't say that I've tried too many brands otherwise to stay away from. There's a bunch of brands, what's it called? There's a lot of like, you know, the brands that everybody uses, and I think most of those are going to be fine. Where I live, Amblin and Winsor Newton are kind of they're like quality paints and their prices pretty good for artist grade. I know some places overseas, some of the like European brands, which are more expensive here, are cheaper there, and vice versa with like gambling and stuff like that. So whatever, that's fine. There isn't any brand in particular that'll be like, oh, watch out for this brand or that brand. Yeah. I know some professional artists use some of the like student grade paints on some colors in particular, and they can recommend them to use these colors because and save some money. I don't know what those are, so I can't really help in that area, unfortunately. I don't have enough experience with that, or I haven't tried any that I can justify recommending that way. Sorry, not the most helpful. Um, Other than that, I can say, and this might not be interesting to you, but I can recommend, um, there's some palettes and some modifications to palettes that you can do that will help with the price of oil paint if the price of oil paint is an issue for you. Um, because like for instance, the cadmiums are kind of expensive. Um, you don't have to use cadmiums. You know, you can use other colors that are cheaper. So yeah, so there's some wiggle room there. Surprisingly, blues are actually pretty cheap. Most of them. Well, not most of them. The two I would recommend. And then of course the earth tones, the like umbers and all that. I don't use any of them, but they're very economical. I just don't use any of them in my painting anymore. Yeah. Um, oh yeah. I will say if you like softer paints, Emgran is on the softer side compared to like Gamblin. That can, you know, your life easier if you have that kind of preference. Hey Donley, welcome. You're getting up early, so you can't stick around, but wanted to stop in and say hey. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. Donley, by the way, is an artist and a streamer. He streams on Twitch, does digital art. Really cool guy. Has a great Discord. Highly recommend it. Um, yeah. Yeah, today's not going to be the longest of streams. I will say that. I can't go for like 3 or 4 hours. It's going to be closer to the like 2-ish hours today. Um, my neck is still recovering, and I don't want to overdo it. But yeah, I wanted to, but I wanted to make an effort and stream regardless. My neck's been like all messed. Well, absolutely, absolutely. And by the way, it's Don Leo, um, on Twitch. So thought I'd get that right. I really enjoyed the community in Twitch. I think the art community in Twitch is great. There you go. Don Lee, one word, underscore OOHHH. Yeah. I made a lot of friends in the art community in Twitch. The reason I'm not streaming there right now is um more geared towards, generally speaking, digital art. I feel like that's generally where it's the focus is. The exception of like a few people, especially Arthur Gaines, there's not a lot of oil painters. Oh, I just remembered something. I actually do have a brand that I can say stay away from. Uh, called Paul Rubens. Um, and it's a Chinese company. I've used some of their paint, and I didn't like. I like them because they're fluorescent, and that's what I bought them for. But I don't know that I didn't enjoy painting with them. I enjoyed the colors because I can't get those colors anywhere else, but I did not did not enjoy painting with them. So I would I haven't tried the regular colors, but my so I can't say 100%, but they seem like not the best quality, judging based off of those ones that I got. But they're like I said, I think it's just a cheap Chinese brand. I'm not sure. I guess the same name, but it's not branded like the actor only. It just happens to have Same name, I guess. Hi, Dresden. My little boy. Now have two cats next to me. Great info. Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. That's funny. It didn't even occur to me. Like my memory for names is so bad. Quick cat break. You might not care. I'm not sure, but ah, Dresden, little boy. Look at that fluffy belly. Oh, it's so fluffy. All right, on my chair while I'm so fluffy. I'm putting on gloves when you're just a tiny bit uh not perfectly dry. Ain't hot in my room. Okay, you're off. Have a great rest of the stream. Take care, all. All right, Dunley. Have a great night. Yeah, not that I'm looking to push people to another platform necessarily, but the Twitch art community is pretty nice. They're very welcoming. YouTube has a lot of great art channels. I don't know that there's as much of a like community or community feel. I think OPL has definitely fostered that. Um, and I think some of the other streamers have, like Steven. Oh, I'm gonna mess up his name now. Not Steven. It's oh, I can't believe I'm messing up his name right now. He does a lot of pencil drawings. Um, messing up his name right now. Did a great video uh against AI art. That helps anybody, but name right now. Totally blanking. Batman. Not Batman. Um, no, I mean, there's a ton of great artists uh, on YouTube. So this is more of a talking about the ones who have a community versus the ones who are like fantastic, who maybe don't foster as much of a community. But I can't remember his name right now. I'm blanking. But Bauman. Oh no, not Stefan Bauman. He he's got some good stuff. There's two Steffens or Stevens, I can't remember, on YouTube who make art videos. One who dresses like a pirate and one who doesn't. Um, I know that Nicholas Uribe is friends with the one who doesn't dress like a pirate, and has said nothing but glowing things about him specifically. Um, yeah, but no, I'll look for it. It's not Stefan. It's does pencil drawings mostly. Anyways, he's a really cool guy. He's been very active against the AI stuff, um, and I think he's fostered a uh, quite the community as well. That's all I'm talking about specifically. Chelsea Lang also has developed or fostered quite a community, but it's kind. Yeah, Steven Zapata, uh, Zapata. That's it. Yeah, Stefan, or no, Steven Zapata. That's it. Steven Zapata. Yes, that was him. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, Chelsea Lang's also developed quite a good community. I think a lot of it's though kind of paywall because uh, she teaches a boot camp that I've been a part of, and everyone there is really awesome. But you have to pay to join the boot camp, so it's kind of a different type of community. Still really good, just different. You like her too? Yeah, no, she's great. Her videos. So I didn't know her personally. I just saw her videos, and then I talked to her personally to join her boot camp, and I've been very happy with it. I used to watch a lot of Stefan Bauman. I'm just gonna, for lack of a better term, say the pirate guy, the one who dresses like a pirate. Um, I don't know that I agree with everything he says, which, no artist, no artists are going to. It's fine. Um, so, whatever. But yeah, I used to watch him a lot. Um, also, Chamberlain. I can't remember his name. He does plein air painting. Can't remember his first name. I think it's Chamberlain Paints. Um, and when I was first starting out with oils, I also used to watch uh, Lena Danya's instructional videos. Those were very informative, especially as a beginner. Got Got Chamber? I don't think so. Maybe. There's a delay on chat, so might be that might be referring to something else. Or Javi might be could say something else. Just mentioning YouTubers I like now, but oh, what name is good for learning stuff for now? Oh, excuse me for a second. I'm going to say goodnight. It seems like we have a lot of the same channels in the algorithm. Well, I think there's definitely a limited amount of people. Um, I think that's also an issue. So, but yeah, we definitely circle the same people. Can't remember who I was talking about recently. Oh, this is Proco for learning, although I haven't really used a lot of the information from Proco, or rather I haven't like signed up for anything, but good stuff from what I've seen. Um, James Gurney is always fantastic. Just saw one of his videos today, really good. Yeah, I feel like there's a limited amount of people on YouTube. There's some new ones coming out now. Some are new, some aren't that new, but they've just been doing it for long enough. Trying to remember one guy in New York who's kind of young and he opened his own studio and stuff. His videos are pretty good. Trying to remember his name right now. It's like I can't. I'm so bad with names. It sucks. And some of the people I watch um are on the younger not all, some are on the younger side, and it's you know it's like I watch them and it's not always the most informative because experience wise their stuff is more for beginners. But I still enjoy their videos, and I love hearing other perspectives on art because sometimes it's technical stuff that they're talking about, which is fine. Sometimes it's art perspective, and it's always interesting to hear. Remember all the names, but I'm very much moment. Yeah, I should put together a list, honestly. I think I should start doing that. Put together a master list of all the oil painters. Well, I guess not all just oil painters, all the painters and art channels on YouTube. that I feel are worth, mentioning. Chiazza, who I used to like a lot, would not be on that list anymore, by the way, because him and his brother suck. I will never recommend them to. I sound bitter. It's 'cause I think it would be cool to put together an exhibit showcasing all the different artists. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, that would be cool. I don't think that really would ever happen, but yeah, that would be cool. Even just a master list of like, here's all the cool artists on YouTube that you know, I think are cool. Um, Even something as simple as that would be cool. Some of them are like so different. I mean, they're so different. Like I like Peter Draws a lot, but like he's so different from any of the oil painters that I like and follow. But I like his stuff. I also like how he makes videos. But it's definitely a taste thing. Like not everyone's gonna enjoy his brand of humor, his way of like making. I think it's great. This arm is definitely losing its form. Go in and carve it back out. But yeah, there's a ton of great artists. Arthur Gaines is also has videos on YouTube, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, he does all his streaming on Twitch, and then all his videos on. I guess you could do a like a an exhibition with without asking them, just you know make a gallery to show off everybody's artwork. Not exactly the same thing as like a real exhibit, but everyone's so spread out. I think it would be almost impossible to make a real exhibit, like to have everyone work together, kind of thing. Unless maybe YouTube money behind it. Or if they all unionized, that'd be cool. That seems to be a popular thing right now. My channel suddenly disappears. We know why. Uh, that would be fun. But do. Cat, you're kind of in my way. Yeah, I'm gonna have to move you. Have I seen the 1000 art collab? No, I don't. Well, I'm gonna say no because it doesn't ring any bells. Look up 100 artists out of Michigan. I'll have to look it up. So with my stream, the way things are, just uh, I'm looking at my reference material over there, and that's also where my, you know, where the chat is and my computer and everything. So we'll wait to look it up till after the stream, because anytime I go to my computer, I'm basically off camera. I can't keep painting. And if it's something quick, I'll do it. But if I want to find out more about it, I'm probably going to need a couple minutes. So I will definitely get it. Sounds interesting. I'm gonna do it at your leisure. Yes, I was just letting you know. Uh, you and anyone else watching after the fact, you know. There was there's this town somewhere, I can't remember where. Um okay, so it's kind of a roundabout story. Um I live in Austin, Texas, and there is a there's a town called Hutto, and I don't know the history behind it, but their mascot are hippos. So so there's a ton of like hippo statues all around uh Hutto, like all around the businesses, you know, kind of all over, like a thing. I don't know why. Um, it's cute, whatever. It's fine. Um, and I saw this thing recently about a town, and I don't know where this is. I'm gonna say Midwest, but you know, could be wrong about the specifics. Um, that they started doing a thing with pig statues. Um, and I thought, oh, okay, cute. It's like, what they do at Hutto. The thing is, in Hutto, they're all different size. There's not like a uniform size. Some businesses have like little small ones sitting on the outside. There's some bigger ones, and so on. But whatever, it's cool. I was like, all right, cool. So they have you know, pigs. That's cool. And then they apparently made it into an art feature where different people were doing different designs to them and painting them in different ways. And I was like, oh, that is cool. I always support, I think that's cool. I support people being artistic and doing all that stuff. It's great. And then I find out that um it's a it's become a tourist thing, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, I don't, once again, I don't mind. I support, you know, support tourism for art and so on, and this sounds all good and good. Then I find out that, oh, their biggest uh, export and manufacturing, I don't know if manufacturing is the right word, but basically they output pork. And I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Like, that just seems so messed up. Have all these statues of pigs when your biggest export is pork. Totally ruined it for me. And yeah, I just thought about it because you mentioned like a big art project. I don't think there's anywhere the same. Like, I'm not even trying to connect the two. It's just in my head. My head went places. But yeah, Hutto doesn't export hippos, so it's all good there. At least that. Oh, I see. Oh, worth mentioning is a very much a side note, but I'm going to mention this to anyone who is new to oil painting and, you know, Just so you're aware, linseed oil, which is the base for most oil paints, um, is a is a fire risk. So everyone who paints in oils or does any woodwork, deck work, stuff like that, where they use linseed oil, yeah, it's a bit of a fire risk. So just be aware that um, you have oil-soaked rags and you crumple them up and throw them in the trash, they can spontaneously combust. So don't do that. Um, Most people are afraid. I know I was. I was afraid of the fumes from called from all the different mediums or oh, there's a different word for it, but I can't remember the word right now. Anyways, people are often worried about the toxicity from the fumes, which is in fact the thing that you need to be aware of. Um, However, there's a lot of ways around that. But yeah, the spontaneous combustion thing, some people are not aware of. And yeah, that's worth mentioning. So, short little PSA there. Anyone who unfamiliar. So there's yeah, a lot of people aren't aware of that. That's that the rags can spontaneously combust, and it has nothing to do with the oil with oil paint specifically. It's just oil. Oil-soaked rags can do that. So because what happens is as the paint dries, doesn't doesn't dry like water, which water evaporates. This curates or cures or whatever it is. It oxidizes, which generates a small amount of heat. When you crumple everything up, if it's a lot, it can, you know, like I said, it can spontaneously combust. So you either need a special trash can or leave your rags out flat to dry. Um, Heard that works. Or I personally put them in a container filled with water and soap, like dish soap. Really need to put in lightest one of the lightest parts in the whole painting. I'll help balance everything. My brush is so dirty that when I first just mix white into my brush and see if that's enough. Setting it down for the night. Thanks for the chat. I catch you on the next one. Hi, absolutely. Thanks for stopping by. Um, Jaffe, thanks for stopping by. I will be streaming on Sunday. Um, Welcome to stop by. So this is one of the most challenging parts about this particular painting is the dog. The reason it is so challenging is because it is um, very blown out. The white dog, and it looks almost entirely white in the reference. And I am not an expert on dogs, so it's harder for me to fill in the blanks. Uh, Whereas much more confident when it comes to people painting. So yeah, one of those things. Might not be able to make all of it up. It might end up being very much photo. Won't be the worst, but there's something to be aware of, is it? So this definitely helps putting in white and form for the rest of the, as far as the values. And this definitely isn't as light I can go, like pure white and just put it down. It'll be a bit whiter. For generally, I try to avoid that for big areas. Not really worried about putting in detail dog yet. Definitely be putting in more. for the fact that they're blending in together here. It's just a little too tight in values over there. Need to adjust. Don't get me wrong, they are close and in the reference. I don't mind blending things that are close together, generally speaking. But that's a, choice to be made, not to just like the main thing. Obviously, his ears are not going to stay pink. Funny, but comes to grouping things that are not grouping things that are separate from each other and using them. Not always, but more than likely, that's the type of thing that I do more often in shadows than in the lights. Not exclusive. But most artists, that's where they do it in the darks. Because it's good in the dark. Why? So, close to the 2-hour mark. I have to make this stream on the shorter side today, fortunately. But let's see if I can't solve some of the features. Look, so messed up. So, exposure and photo goes, there really isn't that much. Like, it's kind of, and the light's coming from this, this direction, that direction, based off of a shadow. Um, but it's kind of front So the eye sockets aren't really that dark overall. Um, Putting in the you know, the shadow for the eye sockets, it's really not that dark. But it is something I'm used to doing, and it's a good way of blocking it in. And in oil paints, generally speaking, it's easier to go light over the darks versus darks over the lights. So, I don't know. That's not a like not 100% true always, generally, because the dark colors tend to be more transparent, and titanium white is very opaque, generally. Having said that, this black paint is pretty opaque, pretty good at covering things. It's Mars. Go ahead and get curious. Don't think Mars Black is the blackest. Well, it's, I'm excluding like Black 3.0 and all those ones. Like just regular available black oil paints. I think it's the most black out there. Um, However, it black enough for anything I've painted somehow, I suppose. Um, and it's pretty opaque. So it's very, very powerful in mixes and so on. Uh, I've been enjoying it. I haven't used it all the time. Or I used to use other black paints, but yeah, been one of the paints I've been last like I know I have used chromatic black, and that one's good, but it's very transparent. By Gamblin. Curious. And then there is the most common black paint, which is ivory black, or sometimes referred to as bone black. I am opposed to that one on principle because it's made from animal bones. I mean, probably not an issue, but in the sense that I doubt that they probably use the excess from the in different industries out there. But on principle, I won't use it. Although I have a leftover, someone gave me a tube, like a leftover tube. I used that because it's already made. I didn't buy it though. So yeah, putting in the eye sockets like that can just be very helpful as far as like locking in things. I'm still gonna have to go in and paint the the eyes and everything, but a good way of blocking. He looks almost human, and it still needs work. I can see. Probably gonna have to change a different brush when I go in and do all the details for her face. It's this one, bunch of splayed hairs. Makes doing detail a lot harder. Anyways, still needs work, but I'm gonna move on to him briefly, just so I can clean this up, and then I'll probably be calling it a night stream. I don't know if he's sunburnt or if the lighting is low. But he's got the like dark on the top of the cheeks happening. Could be a combination of the two. He also has it here and here. Could be just the lighting though. Really hard to tell. Realize he's looking kind of splotchy and messed up right now. Pull it back in a minute. All right. I think part of it's also there's down often in painting or anyone who's actually drawing too, often in drawing and painting, you are working on something. The placement of it seem right. There are the tricks of like using a mirror, all those things. Very, very useful. Help see fresh. Um, However, one thing to try and pay attention to is often it is not the place itself that is the problem. So if you're looking at the eyes and you're like, man, just always in the wrong place. Why can't I get it right? Sometimes there'll be another feature or something else that's making it look like it's in the wrong place. Especially when I'm talking about the eyes, often it's the nose. That often throws the whole thing for a loop. But sometimes there'll be things in the area that are placed wrong. So, worth keeping in mind. Man, this is small. I'm not going to be trying to get all the facial details in. Not at this size. Yeah, I don't feel like being that much of a masochist. Obviously, right now I'm not going to be putting in any of the details, but just I will not be putting in all the details of the idea is to get enough to imply and to have the expression show. That's it. If I was painting this a lot larger, maybe. And it's not that it's not doable, it absolutely is. And especially with the right brushes and so on. But there's a difference between desirable and doable. Yeah, I can do it. I don't want to. It's not. I don't. Also, things don't scale perfectly. And what I mean by that is, um, to give an example from movies, fire doesn't scale, right? Fire is kind of the size that it is. So um, when they do visual effects and they use miniatures for explosions, a lot of times it doesn't look right because the fire just don't look right. The reason it doesn't look right is because it doesn't actually scale properly. Um, and paint, while not the same, has some of those limitations. What I mean by that is, it's a physical object. You have pigments ground up, suspended inside oil. Oil has a certain viscosity to it. All these things affect how it looks and handles. And at larger scale, it's less of an issue. Like the larger you get, after a certain after a certain size, it no longer is very important. But go very, very small, starts becoming an issue. Or more of an issue, to be accurate. Like I said, it is doable. I'm not saying you can't do. There are people who make like, very, very tiny that you need a magnifying glass to see. But it's an added difficulty to it. the shadow on the upside of the face is really messing with my doing the what's like the eye socket thing or whatever. Like you can't really do that because it's not the same. All right, I'm going to be shutting down it. I'm going to say thank you, anyone who, Don Lee and Javi, and anyone else who is watching and hanging out. Thank you to anyone who watches the recording after the fact. Thank you. I appreciate the company. I will be streaming again on Sunday. At the moment, my schedule is Monday night, Wednesday night, Sunday day streaming schedule. Further notice. Questions are welcome. Talking about art and paintings. Totally welcome to do that. Come hang out, chat, whatever. If you so yeah, I'm gonna be calling it enough. Just his face looks all messed up right now. Don't want to leave it like this. Just want some more definition here. Right now it looks too blobby to me. I might have to just leave it as is and fix it. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it and go back and fix it. Isn't the biggest deal in the world. Proportions are out of whack. I know what it is, but I look at pretty sure the browser. Eh, they'll have to wait till next. Anyways, thank you everyone who stopped by, anyone who's watching, I appreciate it. I have to cut this one a little short tonight. So have a good night. Subscribe, hit the bell if you want to see the streams live. I'm everywhere online. Find me if you want to follow. Have a good night.